How was it? Zao bih tang digo na men do tem. Ni miteo ge ni ge. Bishi go kang don je. Aing da shuma on and on gang sola kaut in digita. Has manager man don je digita ma sola kaut. Gi kino mago with ing week go tong gai jigatek Thunder Bay. Gian doch kino mago university gai jigatek. Gi tebinani social work degree gai jigatek university. Shagoch tash gi himat nokian ing matikinagan child and family service at tamge noki achina and subibon me dogoma subibon newborn mi go gaje and gian noki matash ing noden hajigadek noden child and family intervention services mi et nake gaje anoki go an een stem mangi gije wawich ta tafsho ki kanon shiwe tafsho ki kanon go awyek Ministers Gia noni go be kche Sandy Lake Kia ya kijeta Giga gwejmik tash ich bin chiwiche gaban chiwich tan mi tash debe kaje no de anoki anima ing with noki mak tekche. I just wanted to say I introduced myself. My name is Tom Chisel, and I work with Solokot First Nations Health Authority. I started off with just learning in terms of my education. I had gone and got a degree, a social work degree from Lakehead University in Thunder Bay. And then I went to work with Tikanagan Child and Family Services for a few years, 4 years maybe. And then I went to work at the Noden Child and Family Intervention Services as at Noden. I think it was just more of a trainer, community development worker. And then an elder from Sandy Lake I met, he asked me if I would be willing to work with him. And so then I ended up being hired on at the Health Authority as the traditional healing coordinator. And it was during those years, the beginning of those years, when I began to work with the elder from Sandy, that I began to really sort of have an interest in medicines. I had been given through a ceremony instruction that I would become a helper of my people and also a pipe carrier someday. That was when I was about 22 years old, and I didn't do anything until I was about in my 30s. So at any rate, and then later on, as I progressed through my through the work that we were doing, the traditional healing work, I began to develop that interest in the plant medicines. And then I became part of the Medicinal Society sometime around 1998 or 99. I can't remember what year, but anyway, it was around that time that I was initiated into the Medicinal Society at Panema, Minnesota. And then at that point I began to actually become more involved in doing this kind of work. So I met other elders through the society who were taught me some of the medicines. Plus, I also, as a result of my interest in it, I was, of course, I was already interested in it. I was also informed that there were certain medicines that I needed to learn as I was progressing through the society. Anyway, so there's those spiritual connections and inspiration and encouragement for spiritual ceremonies, and gifts, I guess, were given, and permissions to learn the medicine. So I began to. Of course, I had been a sweat lodge keeper around that same time, prior to going to the Medicinal. And I've been doing sweat lodges for about 23 years now, and I began to make a medicine using these ingredients here that I have in front of me on this table, as a part of my medicine that I used in the sweat lodge. All these plants are cleansing medicines, and they're blood cleansing medicines, and they also work on different parts of your body, different parts. And so over the years, when I began to understand the properties of these medicines, I decided to use them in a combination. And then as a result of giving medicine and helping medicine, we discovered that these medicines were actually good for gallstones, dissolved gallstones, that combination of this particular combination that I have here anyway. So so that's what I'm going to share with you, except that this is not part of it. This is sakitagan, they call it, or chaga in English, or it's basically what it is it's a birch tree fungus. It grows on the side of a tree, on the bark, or on the side of a tree, or sometimes it starts to grow off the side and onto a branch of the tree. So anyway, that's the birch chaga, birch fungus, and we'll talk about that later. So anyway, the ingredients for this medicine I always is cedar, and the cedar I collect. I collected. I use cedar in the sweat lodge and I put it down on the floor of the lodge, and this is what was left of the cedar that when we were collecting it, that we were going to use on the floor. There was some remaining. So sometimes when that happens, then I usually use it for medicine. So as we're here, I've collected this medicine and collecting this medicine, and so the cedar is very much a multi-purpose medicine. It's a cleanser. It's a expectorant, like it takes stuff out of your lungs. It also cleans your blood. It also works in your intestinal area, cleans it out, cleans yourself out. I remember I went on a fast, and the man that put me out gave us a cup of cedar tea before we went out, because it would act as a cleanser. So cedar is used as a medicine for colds and fevers. It's a painkiller. It's a anti-inflammatory, and so it's used in as a medicine, but it's also used as in ceremonial purposes. It's used as a smudge. They use it to smudge in ceremonial lodges. You actually light the thing, and then you just light it, and you just walk around the lodge, and it has a beautiful smell, the smell of the burning cedar. So that's the first one, cedar. And then the next thing, that's part of it, is this is another plant that I collect from around this area. It's called Princess Pine. What it looks like is that this, if I can find one, a little bit. It grows about this high usually, and about that high off the ground, and it has the leaves grow around the stem on intervals. So there's one layer, and then another layer, and then another layer. So and then so this is Princess Pine. I should say that the cedar, the Schnabe, what we call it around here is Gishkandak cedar. This one here we call Gagagebak, or Gagagebak, because it's an evergreen. It's an evergreen. If you dig it up in the snow, it'll still be green, and I think that's why they call it a pine, because it has the that evergreen property. So this is also a blood purifier. It cleans your blood, and it also cleans and it interacts with your bladder, the bladder and the kidneys. So it's cleanses your kidneys. Kidney medicine. And your bladder, and so it's a cleansing medicine. Okay, so that's the Princess Pine. So the other thing that I use is as a part of the medicine, and it's just I use the root of the wild ginger plant. This is actually the rhizome, and I cut the rhizome when it's fresh. I take the tiny rootlets, the roots that go down into the ground, and then I pull them off, and then I use those as a smudge in the sweat lodge. And then this, the rhizome that goes sideways on the ground, it's a blood medicine. It's also it's a anti-inflammatory. It also so it relieves pain. It's a painkiller. Then it also works on stomach problems, issues, stomach intestinal problems. And so different things like Crohn's disease or irritable bowel syndrome. People, if they take the thing, it alleviates some of the symptoms, I guess. And I've also used this as an antibacterial. It's an antibacterial medicine. I accidentally ate some sour milk. It was very sour. Suddenly, my stomach was really rumbly, and so I took one of these twigs, or these little rootlets, and I ate it, and it settled my stomach completely. Another man I know, he said he had food poisoning, and he took. So I gave him one of these, and it settled his stomach right away. It didn't. It killed the bacteria in the food. So it works really good that way. And this is the leaves of the wild ginger. I collect the whole plant when I collect the plant, and right now these leaves, you can't really tell, but it's a heart shaped. It's a very heart shaped leaf, and there's two of them grow together from the ground, and then in the springtime there's a triangular shaped purple plum colored flower in the springtime. And so I collect this. This is heart medicine. They use this for heart because it's the shape of a heart. And Schnabek will say, how does it look like? And whatever it resembles is what they would use it for. Sometimes there's another plant that has red. If you find red colored bark, say the red willow, that's used for heart medicine, and it's a cleansing too. So this is a heart medicine, as well as and there are some other properties which I could probably talk about it quite a bit, but it's a very powerful medicine. It actually boosts any medicine when you use it. It boosts the power of the other medicines when you put it together. So the other one that I have here is I have this bundled up, but this is wild mint. Wild mint grows. It grows along the shoreline, and that also has a very powerful. It's a very powerful medicine. It's a medicine. It's good for stomach problems, ulcer. Like if you have an ulcer, it'll help you with an ulcer. And it also settles your stomach when you have indigestion and things like that. It's also a blood purifier. It also helps you with memory, like if you're having troubles with concentrating, say in school or something like that, and you need to have concentration. Wild mint helps you with your focus and your medicine, your memory and stuff like that. Okay, so yeah, so those are the five, that I use. The cedar, Gishkandak, Kagagebag, the princess pine. The wild ginger is called namepin in our language. And wild mint around here has different names. Different people call it different things depending on where you're from. Up north they call it Kwayaciiwin. Other places they call it Andegobug. And around here we call it katakasing, which means that it's coolness, eh? It's the cool flavor, eh? So anyway, so I mix this medicine for all together. When I mix them up, I make a tea. I put the cedar and the princess pine and the there is one other item that I guess I don't have it here, and it's called sweet fern. I don't have it here. In fact, I used it in here. Okay, so here's the other ingredient. This is the sweet fern. And of course, sweet fern, this is because it's been cooking in the medicine. That's why the green has kind of left there. But this is, we call this Kwayaciiwin. And this one cleans your lungs. It works on your lungs. And it's also good for when you have a bad cold, pneumonia. People used it a long time ago for TB and tuberculosis, and of course it's also a blood cleaner, and it's also kind of a stimulant. It has, like, if you have a cup of tea or something like that, when you have a tea, it freshens you up, wakes you up a little bit. So it has a little bit of a stimulant effect. Kwayaciiwin, and this is for colds and pneumonia.